One of my favorite things to do as a dad is chase my kids around the kitchen and dining room. Our house is set up in such a way where you can run through the living room, the hall, the kitchen, the dining room, and then end up again back in the living room. Well, my kids know that when I get that look in my eye, they take off. You would think the best part would be the chase, but they love being caught. When they're caught, they let out this squeal, and they get tickled, and it all starts again. In fact, I remember this one time when I was chasing my oldest son, Connor, and we were basically just running in a circle. Well, I decided to change it up and switch directions when he could not see me. He wasn't expecting it. When he turned around, bam, he ran right into a wall. Catching him that time wasn't hard at all. Well, sometimes it's not as fun to be caught. Whether we're caught red-handed or the troubles brought on us, pain is never fun. A lot of times in life, things happen that don't make sense, and we can be constantly looking over our shoulder. Think back to a time when you were caught. Maybe for you, faking sickness when you had a math test made sense at the time. Or you had to serve a detention with that kid you just can't stand. Or maybe it was getting drunk at a party and then your parents found out. Or you sneak out late at night to go hang out with friends, and when you get home, your mom is sitting on the couch. Too many times we only feel bad when we get caught. When we get into trouble, we don't understand why we have to be punished. When we get caught, though, are we going to avoid the discipline or learn from it? We've been studying Hosea's story about the love of God in spite of our unfaithfulness. We've talked about how God is pursuing us for a relationship and with grace. Here's a quick recap of Hosea's story. He's a prophet of God who's instructed to marry a prostitute. Yeah, you heard me right. He's told by God to marry a woman who's not going to be faithful to him, and he does it. But he never stops loving her, even in the face of constant frustration and disappointment. We're told by God that Hosea's life is an illustration of the relationship he has with his people. That's me and you. And in essence, we are the ones who turn our backs on God in search of the next great love in our lives. The part of the story we want to focus on today is this understanding that God, in spite of our unfaithfulness to him, is pursuing us relentlessly. He will never stop pursuing us. Nothing will keep him from bringing us into a loving relationship with him. Listen to what is said about this unbelievable pursuit in the book of Hosea. Come, let us return to the Lord. He's torn us to pieces. Now he will heal us. He has injured us. Now he will bandage our wounds. In just a short time, he will restore us so that we may live in his presence. Now that's some strange language. He's torn us to pieces? He's injured us? This doesn't sound like someone we would want pursuing us. Let's look at it this way. Remember when I was talking about chasing my kids around the house? It really is a lot of fun. We laugh so hard, it hurts. We sometimes laugh until we can't breathe. It is a ton of fun. Those are the great times. But that's not the extent of my love for my kids. Sometimes I chase them down for a different reason. There are times I have to find them because they got in trouble. There are times when they get caught. It's tough on me as a dad when I have to punish them for bad decisions or careless words or even harmful actions to others. I don't like putting them in timeout or grounding them. I know the punishment tears their heart out. I know a spanking injures them. Not severely, but you get the point. If I was to do nothing when they screwed up, what would happen to my kids? They would think life had no punishment, and we all know that's not true. It is the discipline that God is showing us, his unstoppable, relentless love. In this relentless pursuit by God, our hearts may be torn to shreds, and our egos may be bruised. But it's not because God hates us or is mean. It's because of his pure love for us. We must go through some of the discipline to see our true selves, the people he is developing us to be. He wants a relationship with each and every one of his creations. Over in the New Testament, the book of Hebrews says, "We have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live?" Discipline is for our good. And the writer of Hebrews again says, "Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. This is coming from someone who knew what it was like to suffer for their faith in Jesus. Every day, people in those times were hauled out and killed for their faith. If God tells us he's treating us as his children, then we can trust him. Just like Hosea with Gomer, God will go to any lengths necessary to have us. With our chasing after other gods and other things in this life that take his throne in our hearts, it sometimes necessitates what may seem like unloving acts from our Heavenly Father. When you question the love of the Father, listen to the story of Jesus' death on the cross. He went through unimaginable pain for our hearts. If God is willing to go through all that, how much more can we trust him to know what is best for us? Not all pain is from God, but all pain can be used by God in his relentless pursuit of our hearts. So we find that in God's relentless pursuit of us, he does so with the heart of a father. Growing up, I was the model student that was loved by teachers and really received good grades. One time I was in 6th grade and I had a mental lapse. You ever have one of those? I decided I was going to be a guy to be feared, at least in my own mind. Never in my life have I been that guy. But this time I was going to go crazy. There was an assignment that was worth 33% of our grade, and that had to do with building a mini replica of a playground. Thinking I would rather feed my foot to a family of rabid badgers, I chose not to do it. When the time came to turn it in, I was so playing the too cool to do this attitude. When my teacher called around the room to turn in our projects, I arrogantly said, I didn't do it. She asked me if my mom knew. My mom was a teacher in the same district. Yeah, that was tough. And I said, yeah, lying with full confidence and arrogance. A few days passed, and I was scared to death to even look at my mom or dad. Well, to cut the story short, my mom and dad found out, and I had to apologize face to face to that teacher. And I still had to do the project for half credit. God used that horrible decision to work in my heart, and actually, she became one of my favorite teachers. God can use any pain in our lives to bring about healing and transformation if we let him. He is in pursuit. Will you let yourself be caught?